Am I the asshole for refusing to trade Halloween for Diwali for my children? Children involved are 3 and 4. Born in Canada, so far raised without any religious influence, but neither parent is opposed to it. The father, let's call him Dave, and I have been separated since January 2021. Co-parenting has been rocky at best. The relationship was riddled with emotional abuse. In my opinion, Dave is a textbook narcissist. Having finally settled in court, this is the first year that a custody agreement will dictate the division of holidays, alternating each year. This year, I am entitled to Halloween with our children. Please keep in mind, I have no knowledge of what a Diwali celebration entails and am going only on what Dave has informed me will take place. Forgive my ignorance or incorrect terms. Additional info on Diwali celebrations are welcome. Dave approached me this morning to ask if I would trade years for Halloween. He would take the children this year and I would have them next. Dave explained that Diwali falls on Halloween this year and that his girlfriend celebrates. He stated that the children have been invited by her family to join in the celebrations. Dave stated that the children would be picked up from school, travel 20 minutes to their home where they will have dinner, do puja number 1 at 5:10 p.m., travel 1 hour to GF's family's home, do puja number 2, have a snack, trick or treat and go to bed. They would then stay overnight at the GF's family's home to continue the Diwali celebration the following day. Both October 31st and November 1st are my parenting days. Dave has not directly asked to have the children for Friday, but in stating that they will sleep over and the celebration continues, it is presumed. I am of the opinion that it is great for the children to experience other cultures and religions and welcome their participation in Diwali. However, the children loved Halloween last year and haven't stopped talking about it since. They picked out their costumes in August and tell anyone who will listen what they will be. I feel that with the travel and additional celebrations, it may make for a very rushed and tiring Halloween. I don't know how long puja lasts, but the timeline does not appear to allow for much time to trick or treat. I do not want their Halloween experience compromised when they will ask again for another full year. I have offered a solution to Dave that the kids would trick or treat as per usual but could spend Friday with the GF's family to celebrate Diwali. I also offered to drive the children the 1 hour to their family home, knowing that they will already be there and celebrating. This way, the children could experience both Halloween and Diwali. Dave seems to think that I am trying to control his parenting and it should be a simple trade for Halloween this year for next. I feel that it is not simply a trade for this year and next because the children may miss out on the Halloween experience as a result of the switch. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. They can celebrate Diwali next year when it doesn't conflict with pre-existing plans and your parenting plan. Don't let him make you budge on the parenting plan not even a year into it. Give an inch, a narcissist will take 100 miles. If he stays with same girlfriend they can do Diwali every year. If you've gotten to the point of court-appointed days, stick with those days. He's being the asshole for asking. Not the asshole. Always follow the court's ruling to the letter. You would be amazed what a half-decent attorney could spin if your ex made a big deal out of you handing the kids over on your days. Also, not for nothing, something tells me Diwali isn't part of good old Dave's culture. And like Halloween, Diwali comes yearly. Seems like the kids would rather do Halloween anyway, and that's what's really important. Why did you even offer to let him have the children when it's not his turn? Diwali is a recurring event, so he can try to have the kids join in next year. There is no urgency about your kids learning what Diwali is. Just keep your kids when it's your turn to have them from now on. Enjoy Halloween with them. Their father's girlfriend will survive not having them at her place for Diwali. Not the asshole. Honestly, not the asshole. Diwali puja can often take time, and kids will definitely be too tired by the time it ends. And honestly, they won't enjoy celebrating Diwali if it requires them to sacrifice something they're really looking forward to. The compromise you've suggested is totally reasonable. I never used to like Halloween, but my daughter loves it. She's also had her costume for months and has been watching Halloween specials of her favorite shows on repeat. She would be crushed if she couldn't participate. Diwali falls on October 20th next year. I don't see why this year they do Halloween, and next year they do Diwali, presuming Dave and GF are still together. If your kids are meh about Halloween, then do Diwali, but if they are excited for it and have costumes already, I wouldn't take that away from them. Am I the asshole for planning a trip during my SIL's due date? For context, sister-in-law, 30F, and I, 32F, are not close and never have been. She's never been friendly towards me and only gives me the time of day because she worships the ground her brother, my husband, walks on. Anyways, she's due with her first baby in April of next year. My mom just surprised me with a trip to London that same month for my birthday, our first time ever traveling together. When I told my husband, I wasn't expecting his reaction. He said I can't go because our trip falls on the same week as my SIL's due date. I said who cares? Sister-in-law doesn't even like me. I highly doubt she cares if I'm at the hospital. Husband said that's not the point, because she came to the hospital when we had our first child last year. I said yes, but had she been traveling when I delivered our baby I wouldn't have batted an eye. I told him I can meet the baby when I return home, we all live in the same city, I see his family all the time. He says I'm being rude and unreasonable. I argue it's a lame excuse for me to cancel, or completely rearrange, my trip. Pretty sure the flights are non-refundable too. Am I the asshole in this scenario? Not the asshole. Due dates are rarely accurate and your mom did a really great thing. So you're supposed to disappoint your mom for someone who doesn't even want you around? Go on your trip, girl, and have a great time. My obgyn planned a trip the week of my due date and I wasn't mad. Not the asshole opera style. He said I can't go because our trip falls on the same week as my SIL's due date. So, your husband is dictating to you and now you have to plan your life around her SIL? Chances are she won't have it exactly on her due date. And I wonder how he'd feel if you tried to dictate to him in the same way. I think your husband is projecting a bit. Not the asshole. Not the asshole go on the trip who cares about her due date. What the fuck does he think you're going to do at the hospital with your sister? Be there with a catcher's mitt? Literally no woman in labor wants a crowd around her if Reddit is any indication. He's being stupid. Go on your trip. She will probably be glad you're not there. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. I guess I kind of understand that family is important to your husband, but most newborn hospital visits are only a few hours long anyway. In my experience. To give then new mama time to rest and give the parents time to bond with their child alone. Not to mention babies are super susceptible to getting sick. You wouldn't be the asshole if you went on the trip. Your mom gave you a surprise gift that you had no hand in and the tickets are non-refundable. The baby will still be there when you get back and mom plus baby might be a little more rested and better suited to see visitors. Am I the asshole for picking my stepdad over my biological father? I, 28F, have been dating my boyfriend, 30M, for almost 2 years now. A couple of weeks ago I had a girls' night with my best friend, mom and sister, where we sparked a conversation about when I thought we would get engaged and married. About 45 minutes after, I received a call from my biological father, let's call him Paul. I stepped away and answered his call. The call started off with our typical, "How are you?" and "What have you been up to?" My normal response is to tell him what I am doing for the time being, which I did. I told him I was having girls' night and jokingly mentioned that they were teasing me about getting married soon. He responded with, "You should. I can't wait to walk my daughter down the aisle." I went silent. For some backstory, my mom met Paul while visiting some family out of state. She went back again to visit him a few times when she got pregnant with me. She came home to have me and Paul never came to see me or visit after I was born. My mom started dating my dad, her on and off boyfriend. Let's call him Steve, when I was only a few months old. Steve has been my dad since then. He has raised me and taken care of me all my life. I didn't really know that Paul was my biological father until I was about 8. I still have had no real relationship with him since that day. As I got older we have had some communication but nothing very consistent. So when he mentioned wanting to walk me down the aisle one day when I got married I was caught off guard. I cleared my throat and told Paul that although I would love for him to attend, I would be asking Steve to walk me whenever that day was to come. I could tell he was more or less angry when he came back and said, "But he's not your father." I am. Before the conversation could get more heated I simply stated that Steve is indeed my father and I was going to hang up the phone. I hung up and went on with my girls' night, not giving the conversation another thought until 3 days later I got a long text from Paul explaining why Steve shouldn't be allowed to walk me down the aisle and how I was insensitive by not thinking he would want to walk me. I haven't responded yet but he keeps having my sisters, Paul's other daughters, try and contact me to say I should see it from his point of view. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole, but Paul certainly is. You don't owe Paul anything. He should consider himself lucky to be invited. Steve has been my dad since then. He has raised me and taken care of me all my life. Case closed. Not the asshole. A sperm donor and a dad are two different things. If your sperm donor had been a part of your life, making you his focus, he'd be your dad. But he wasn't. Steve was there, he was dad. He did the dad things. Do not let sperm donor manipulate you. Tell your sisters that they can have sperm donor walk them down the aisle. If you do get married, and you have someone other than your mom walk you down the aisle, then please opt for the man who stood up in the role of dad. You're definitely not the asshole here. It sounds like Steve has been your true father in every way that matters. Raising you, being there for you, and supporting you. Paul may be your biological father, but a father-daughter bond is built on more than just DNA. It's understandable he'd have feelings about it, but that doesn't mean he's entitled to walk you down the aisle. It's your day, and you should have the person who was there for you the most in that role. You made a thoughtful decision based on your life experience, and that's totally valid. Not the asshole. Steve is your dad in every way that matters for you, and you get to choose who has those roles in your life. Paul made his choices about his involvement in your life. This is just the consequences he gets to deal with. Not the asshole. Steal and tweak the line from the movie Guardians of the Galaxy, and tell Paul, "You may have been my father, but you weren't my dad." Not the asshole. My stepdad raised me. He's been in my life since I was 2-3 years old. My sperm donor, as I call him, has never really been around. I saw him maybe a handful of times while growing up. I have a relationship W the rest of his family but not W him. I totally get it. You want the man that actually raised you to walk you down the aisle. And it's your wedding, your choice. Don't let anyone guilt trip you into anything you don't want to do. There's so much more to parenting than just merely having sex and helping to physically create a child. He did the easy part. Your stepdad has done the hard part. Your stepdad is 100% your dad. Am I the asshole for refusing to help my brother pay for our mom's surgery? My mom is 65, and she recently found out she needs a knee replacement surgery that insurance won't fully cover. My older brother called me to ask if I could contribute half of the out-of-pocket expenses, which come to about $12,000. The thing is, I've been financially struggling for the past few years. I recently had to take out a loan for my car, and I've been barely managing to stay on top of my bills. My brother, on the other hand, has a high-paying job, a huge house, and takes vacations all the time. I explained to him that I just don't have that kind of money right now, but he wouldn't let it go. He accused me of being selfish and not caring about our mom's health. He said that he's already contributing more than his share since he's the one taking care of her day to day, and he's right. I live in a different city, so he shoulders most of the caregiving burden. But it's not like I don't care about our mom. I love her, but I feel like my brother doesn't understand my financial situation. He told me I should just take out another loan to help, but the thought of adding more debt is terrifying. Now, my brother isn't speaking to me, and I feel guilty every time I talk to our mom because I haven't told her about this. She knows she'll need help with the surgery, but I don't think she realizes the fight it's causing between my brother and me. The tension escalated when I suggested that my brother, given his financial standing, might be able to contribute more than half, which sent him over the edge. He said I was taking advantage of his success and not stepping up when it matters most. He pointed out that he's the one sacrificing his time and energy by looking after mom, and that the least I could do was help financially. I know he's under a lot of stress, but I can't give what I don't have. Our conversations have become heated, with both of us feeling misunderstood. Now my brother is talking about cutting ties if I don't come through. I feel torn between my responsibilities and my financial reality. Am I the asshole for not helping to pay for the surgery when my brother is already doing so much? Not the asshole. Just take out a loan, is classic advice from someone with plenty of money to someone without it. It sounds easy enough, but you shouldn't borrow money that you don't have a clear plan to pay back. That is a recipe for disaster. Tell him that you can't take out another loan from a traditional lender, but if he will lend you the money you will try to pay it back ASAP, but you can't commit to any set payment schedule and it will take some time. Then the ball is back in his court. Why doesn't Medicare cover this? Did she sign up for a Medicare Advantage plan that doesn't cover it? You should not be paying your mother's medical bills if you cannot pay your own bills. You are definitely not obligated to pay an equal share to your older, well-off brother who takes multiple vacations a year. Thank him for taking care of her day to day, you appreciate that, but you don't need to take a second job to pay her bills. Not the asshole. You might need to cut off contact with your brother, because he is super toxic, but you should tell your mother why first, let her know you love them both, and then end contact until it blows over. My mom is on Medicare and knee replacements have been covered. If you are in the US, you might want to get a second opinion. Even on employer insurance, the patient's portion should not be that high. My max out-of-pocket is $2,500. $12,000 seems way too high. If she's not on Medicare yet, wait until she is on it. Not the asshole. You don't have the money. End of discussion. Your mother can work out a payment plan with the hospital for whatever isn't covered by insurance. She's 65, not 85, so I'm confused as to why you're not discussing this with her. However, suggesting that he pays more money because he has more is aw-ish. He can do whatever he wants with his money, and so can you. It's great that he's willing to put down $6,000 towards the cost. That doesn't mean you are required to do the same. Hopefully in the future you will be in a position to help if needed. If you try to do that now when you don't have the means, that future is going to get farther away. Not the asshole. There's no good reason why your mother shouldn't pay for this with her own savings. FFS, she's in her 60s. No assholes here, you've both got valid points, yet neither of them changes the reality that this all sucks and none of it is fair. It's not your fault you have less money and availability to care for your mother, it also isn't your brother's. You feel guilty and powerless due to your circumstances, he feels frustrated and taken advantage of for his. You cannot give what you don't have. He can't be expected to keep on giving endlessly without support, and be happy about that.